Gervonta "Tank" Davis fires back at Lamont Roach and all the other social media critics for his cherry-picked choice. Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis have had some back-and-forth beef with each other, which is obvious on social media. Roach has shared some very demeaning comments for Tank. "Houston, we got a problem. You must think I'm one of them regular you fought or some see, LOL, cut it out measy." In response to Lamont's insults, Tank Davis fired back, "I advise you not to talk so much. It can be bad for you. You know that already, the YO." Coach Calvin Ford is convinced that Tank's fight with Roach is what the world needs, and he fired back at all the people who have given Tank hate for fighting Lamont.
Talking all that stuff about, why Roach? Because he signed and took the fight, you know what I'm saying? And it's good for the community.
No.
Coach Calvin Ford said that Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis have known each other since a very long time. Ford thinks that it would be a very interesting battle since both the fighters have been taking shots at each other continuously.
Oh man, they've been knowing each other from the amateurs, silver gloves, everything. They grew up actually together, you know. Roach and him back and forth battles and whatnot. It's gonna be a pretty interesting fight, you know what I'm saying? Because Roach he come to fight, and I think it's...
Moreover, Rayo Valenzuela calls out Tank for being selective about fighting at 140 or 135. He thinks Tank would take the fight at 140 if the money and situation are right, emphasizing that fighters just need things to make sense.
It's difficult to make, but, you know, I'm open to it if they're down and the fans want it.
What do you think about that? You know, the fact that Tank, who's fought at 140 before, seems a little bit selective about when he fights at 140 or when he fights at 135, like... Do you think he would fight you at 140, and if not, why?
I think he would. You know, he's a fighter. I think it all just has to make sense, you know? So as long as it makes sense, fighters are, you know, they're down to fight.
Meanwhile, former boxer Zab Judah took Tank's side during the criticism that he is facing for fighting Lamont Roach. He explained that Tank's explosive style is the best in the game, and he expects Gervonta to be flawless when he fights Roach.
Okay, so Zab, I didn't get your thoughts, right, on Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach.
I mean, listen, man. Y'all know what's up. Y'all know why I stand out with Gervonta, man. Gervonta, that's my guy. Left-hander, dynamite, power, explosive. You know what I'm saying? Good boxing ability. He's in training camp right now. He's putting that work in, and you know, I mean, I expect for him to be flawless. You know, I expect him to win the fight and look good, and you know, and let's see whatever happens next.
Meanwhile, Leonard Ellerbe gave the world a brutal warning when he talked about Tank returning to the ring. Ellerbe claimed that no one has ever seen Tank's power on the bags, and he is ready for a fight this year.
Well, Tank is more than a knockout puncher. You know, you guys just haven't seen him go in his bag yet. You just hadn't seen him go in his bag yet.
You know, speaking of Tank, you know, what's going on? Is he returning this year?
Wait and see.
Oh, come on, Leonard.
Wait and see.
You're fairly confident it will be this year.
Well, I'm very confident that when he's ready to go, he's going to let the boxing world know.
On the opposite end, former boxer Paulie Malignaggi said that Lamont Roach is not at the level of elite boxers, but he is better than a weight-drained Ryan Garcia.
An opportunity? I'm not sure. You know, Roach has been a solid fighter throughout his career, but I'm not sure that he's been of the level yet, or at least notoriety-wise, to be in a fight like this. But then again, you know, is he more impressive than Garcia, who Gervonta brought up in weight and had the same championship title a couple of years ago and fought him in a pay-per-view headliner? Yeah, I think Roach is a step up from that kind of opposition. So I guess we're making progress here.
Moreover, Paulie doesn't agree that Lamont Roach versus Gervonta Davis deserves a pay-per-view status, and added, "Lamont Roach is a good fighter. He's technically sound. He's a championship-level fighter. But as far as opponents for Gervonta Tank Davis in a pay-per-view event go, I'd prefer to see someone who has produced explosive performance at the highest level, or at least is a polarizing personality. Davis is a bona fide pay-per-view star." Malignaggi further mentioned a different path that Tank was to take before fighting Lamont. He said, "Frank Martin Martin, Davis's past opponent, is also a solid fighter, and unlike Roach is established at lightweight, he'd been on course to fight Shakur Stevenson, and he'd produced some good performances that meant there was a curiosity surrounding him at the highest level. There's no question Davis is of the highest level, which is why the careful selection of his opposition is frustrating. Meanwhile, former boxer Chris Algieri supported Paulie's remarks of not giving this fight a pay-per-view status. He said that putting the fight on free TV would make a lot more sense given that Lamont is not at that level of Tank.
I mean, you're getting eyes on you. You're fighting one of the best fighters in the world today. One of the most popular fighters for sure is Gervonta Davis. It's also an all DC area clash, and I think that's going to bring a lot of eyes from that area. But in terms of
which is weird, right? Because it's in Houston. It's an all DC fight, but it's in Houston.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with you, Champ, that making this a pay-per-view doesn't sound very smart. I think if you put this in DC and you look to do a big gate and you put it on free TV, I think it would make a lot more sense.
Although Chris believes that Lamont looked good in his last fight, it's still hard for the fans to accept such an easy challenge for Tank. Algieri commented, "In terms of the fight itself, it's a hard pill to swallow. I'm happy for Lamont Roach. You know, he fought on our air last fight. He looked great, looked really good." Coming back to Coach Calvin, he shared that people are always going to hate on boxers for who they fight, highlighting the incident when Pitbull was to fight Tank again. Ford shared that he is focused on preparing his fighter for the challenge that lies ahead.
People are going to do that. That's what fan does. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, they're going to give up bad criticism. I remember when I was saying everybody should let Pitbull fight Tank again. And they was talking about that. Then when he won that belt, you know what I'm saying? Boom. So I don't get involved with that. I just go ahead and just prepare them and get them ready to put on a great performance for the fans and whatnot. You know, like I said, we just focus on the fight in front of us, and that's the fight in front of us.
Responding to a fan on X who was criticizing this fight, Davis pulled no punches. With that being said, now shut up. Get back to what you were doing. Despite strongly being linked with what would be huge unification fights against fellow lightweight world champions Vasily Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson, neither has yet materialized. Lomachenko has decided to take the rest of the year off, and Stevenson had booked in a defense of his title against Joe Cordina, but had to pull out due to a hand injury. It is clear that even Gervonta Davis is ashamed of fighting Roach because he had previously posted and then immediately deleted the fight poster. In addition, Devin Haney laughed at the news of Tank fighting Lamont Roach. Haney is someone that the fans want to see Tank fighting among others like Shakur and Lomachenko. Tank responded swiftly with a picture of Haney taking a shot from shared opponent Ryan Garcia, saying, "Let's keep laughing. Your face hates to see a left hook coming." Davis also posted comparing their fights. He stopped Garcia with a body shot last year, but the latter bounced back to defeat Haney via decision before failed doping tests led to the result being overturned to a no contest. Furthermore, boxing trainer Greg Hackett shuts down the talk about Tank cherry-picking Roach, saying they both went toe-to-toe with the same fighter, like Hector Garcia, so they're on the same level. It might not have the hype of a Ryan Garcia or Devin Haney fight, but it's still real and worth watching.
Be a rematch from the amateurs. I don't know how many times they fought.
Right.
But dudes are saying like, oh, he bringing up another fighter. While I understand,
Right.
It's like they talking like Tank ain't start his career off at 26. He ain't no huge 35.
And let's be real, they both fought Hector Garcia. So the reason I brought that up is because the level of boxing. Tank only fought him like what, a year and a half ago, 2 years? He fought Hector Garcia.
Yeah.
So then you got
Lamont fought him right after Tank.
So that's what I'm saying. So that is the same level of boxing. So how can we say Tank picking when this guy has a title? You know what I mean? They have a history, they know each other. But I think the only thing missing is that flair, as if it was a Ryan Garcia.
Hackett commented on how Lamont might pose a threat to Tank by saying he's going to put all the extra to it, come in with the outfit on, all that. So, Tank come with the flair. Lamont just a cool boy, but he can fight. He really can fight, and he is a champion. Meanwhile, Gervonta Davis continues to bully fans and the public by cursing and trying to make sense of his next opponent. On the flip side, boxing trainer Bozy Ennis thinks that Lamont Roach versus Tank Davis is a good fight, and he favors Tank to win that bout.
But Lamont
and Tank.
I think that's be a good fight, man. I think it'd be a good fight, man. Him and Tank. I think it'd be a real good fight, man. You know what I mean? I think I would have to go with Tank though. I would have to go with Tank.
Bozy Ennis discusses the requirements for facing Tank Davis. He warns that an opponent will get into problems if he just stands there and punches Tank. Instead, to disrupt his flow, shifting around, boxing shrewdly, and tying him up wherever possible is substantial. It's important to irritate him and seize the opportunity to catch him off guard. But given Tank's skill in setting up shots, that is easier said than done. Bozy notes that Tank is a difficult opponent to defeat in the ring because, in addition to being a powerful puncher, he also has excellent boxing skills. Ennis further added on Tank's skills, Tank will set you up, like I said, he knows how to set you up, and also, like I tell people, Tank can box when he wants to box. Additionally, boxing trainer Robert Garcia told Fight Hype what he thought of Davis right now in the 135-pound class, calling him unbreakable. Garcia stated, "He's unbelievable, man. I think Tank at this point is unbeatable at the lightweight division against any of the world champions." He further emphasized Davis's status as the top contender in the division, praising his recent performance. Garcia highlighted Davis's timing, power, and accuracy, describing him as having everything and calling him a perfect fighter right now. Additionally, Lamont Roach, aka The Reaper, talked about his past fight with Davis when he appeared in an interview with Broadway Joel some time back. When touching on his initial career and fighting Tank, he declared, "I fought Gervonta Davis twice in the amateurs. I lost both times. The first one was a little fishy. No, they both are on YouTube. You can go watch them. The first one I fought him was at Baltimore in the Regional Junior Olympics. My dad sent the tape to USA Boxing. But, as fate would have it, both Roach and Davis made it to the finals and had their second meeting, and the result remained the same." Roach added, "They were like, we are going to give you a grant to go to nationals. We both made it to nationals. We made to the championship, we fought for the championship. He beat me in the championship, so he won gold, and I won silver that year." On the other hand, pro boxer Mickey Bay thinks that Lamont Roach is not a cherry-pick opponent for Tank, and he is someone who can pose a serious challenge. Mickey said that Roach is a young, hungry champion, and Tank will do his thing to excite the fans.
You know what? Tank Tank do his thing, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, he closed the show and he get the people what they want. You can't say it's a cherry pick because dude is a young, hungry champion, and it makes sense. They from like the DMV area.
They arguably the same size.
Exactly. So it ain't a cherry pick. We wanted to see him with another fighter, but at the same time, this one you could say, all right, I'll take that. Dude got a good record, he a champion, they from the same area. It make business sense. I think Tank, other than Canelo, Tank is probably maybe the most like fighter where people excited to see.
Furthermore, Mickey talked about the business side of things, and he claimed that both fighters will be giving the fans a show that they can remember. They commented, "That's a business move," and we said, "What's the difference between business to, the business side of boxing?" He given us something too, where it's a good fight, but it makes business sense because they both from the same town. I ain't sure if they going to wherever they do it, it's going to make sense whether it's Vegas or a hometown. In addition, Showbiz the Adult shared his thoughts on social media regarding the matchup and made fun of both Roach and Tank Davis. He said that this type of fight doesn't suit Tank Davis at all.
Hey, breaking news! Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach.
Who's fighting, Fred? Do you know?
Yeah, Indian Joe Roach and a Mexican fella named Jesus Alvarez.
I'm sorry. No disrespect to Lamont Roach, but Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach, December 14th. Look, that's diabolical. I'm disappointed, man. Like, that's despicable. I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed for a few reasons. I mean, no disrespect to Lamont Roach, but the level he's on.
The responses to Tank's recent post demonstrate the disappointment of fans. Can you fight somebody that's going to actually give you some bump? And yet another cherry pick by Tank were some of the reactions to Davis's message. Another netizen summed up the feeling of the media and fans by saying, "Y'all better stop falling for these weak tricks. Fighters moving up down from their natural fighting weight, but he doesn't want to move up or face any of the competition in his wheelhouse. Teo, Devin, Shakur, etc. Nobody wants this fight." Reflecting on Lamont Roach's last fight, Chris Algieri praised praised Roach's sharpness and flawless technique. He dominated the early rounds, hurting McClay multiple times with precise left hooks. Despite McClay's toughness, Roach's adaptability and focused strategy set him apart, making a strong statement in the 130-pound division.
Lamont Roach, 7th round stoppage to, Padraig McCrory? I hope I said that right.
Fergal.
Oh, Fergal McCrory. Padraig is the one that fought Berlanga. What was your thoughts on the performance?
I thought he looked really sharp. I mean, there's no holes in his game. You know, he came out looking super sharp with the left hook, was able to hurt McCrory multiple times in the first couple of rounds. McCrory battled back though, man. He's an Irish warrior. He came in here fully prepared, in great shape. He looked big, he looked strong, but there's just different levels. And Roach just...
Algieri points out that Lamont Roach entered the fight with a clear and well-defined strategy, aiming for aggressive, close-quarters combat, or as he put it, fighting in the phone booth. Roach's objective was to outbox McClay, who had a reputation as a pressure fighter. Despite the war of words, fans and analysts have questioned Davis's choice of opponent. In principle, despite being the WBA super featherweight champion, Roach has not shown great punching power, something vital to face a knockout artist like Tank. Another point against him is that Roach will have to gain 9 pounds from his natural weight to face this fight. The December fight is locked and loaded. Now it remains to be seen if Roach can prove all his detractors wrong, or if Davis is really just picking easy opponents to avoid the heavy hitters in his division. Do you believe Tank made the right choice, or would you rather have Shakur against Tank? We would love to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comments section below and subscribe for more content like this.